Alright everyone, we gotta talk about the decline of the media a second time in the same day, this time involving Salon, briefly mentioned in the prior video, regarding their apparent use now of a policy. Where in order to use Salon.com, by the way, you shouldn't bother going there unless you're using an archived link because there's really nothing worth reading on Salon. They've been in, I think, decline anyway. They had to downsize their corporate offices because they weren't making the bills on time and they were going to evict them. Like, no shit, like that was a story a few months ago, I think, or you know, late last year. It was really funny. But Salon is telling its readers, basically, all 10 people who, you know, they start their day by going to Salon.com. That's like their opening screen, like, wow, I'm going to see the news that they want me to hear for the day. When you go there, they say, oh, would you like to be served ads or would you like to take part in our crypto mining sort of stuff? So essentially, when you've got their site open, they are using you to make money one way or the other. Now, that's very funny because they're like socialistic. So that sounds very capitalistic to me. Oh, well, you know, you're going to do a little bit of labor for us. Your computer's going to use a bit of its processing power to mine some cryptocurrency while you're connected to our site. By the way, that seems like an even trade. Like, you're not really going to notice a slowdown. I think the main worry is that someone will hijack that and like destroy someone's computer by forcing it to do 1,000 times more work than it would normally be programmed to cause the computer to use, or some crazy thing. I'm pretty sure it could be exploited somehow. But the bigger thing is, this is something nobody's saying. They're talking about it being, well, you know, acceptable versus unacceptable, or maybe people feel mildly uncomfortable, or hey, other sites might start doing this and, you know, ad blockers will become useless on media sites, which, by the way, won't be a problem because they put all their content on YouTube anyway, and you can always archive it. Like, what we need is a team of people who run a site that specifically goes and just archives these things automatically and then serves sort of an archived mirror of these websites. That's really what we need. And an archiving service, by the way, that ignores it when sites tell them not to crawl over. You know, you could just ignore that. Archive.is should probably start, because I think it's a Russian firm, hilariously enough. So I don't think that they would get in trouble for doing so. That's what should be done, though. Really is an attempt to denigrate them from doing such things. So they need to learn to play nice with the little kids. Here's the thing, though. Here's what I was thinking of when I read it. I said, why would they be doing this? You know, they had to have known that it would risk outrage, even among people who agree with them. Like, people on the left, not all of them want to take part in their fucking crypto mining experiment. I know plenty of people on the left, they're like, yeah, I block ads. They're not necessarily going to want to involuntarily have to do the crypto mining thing just in order to use Salon.com. Look, they can use a million other websites. They can use a million other lame stream sites for their news, let alone the new alt media or even turning cable back on. Why the hell is Salon think it was died and went to heaven and became God and now it's indispensable? That's not exactly how it works, Salon. By the way, I wonder at this point, does Salon have less viewership than a lot of YouTubers too? Probably. But for me, what it shows is their desperation. Look, they've had money problems. We know that recently. It was literally reported on. We know that they downsized their offices, that they're not growing as a company. They're not expanding. They've contracted. Since that's the case, would it not make sense to say that the only reason that they're doing this, risking ire as it were, is because they're not making ends meet still? They still can't make a profit? I would think that would be a pretty damn reasonable assumption. In which case you can say, well, Salon is doing this. They're not doing this as an experiment. Wow, this is the future and cryptocurrency's so great, man. No, they probably would come out against cryptocurrency because they're worried Nazis are going to actually have access to money or something. You know, Nazis so-called, meaning anyone who isn't a Salon fan. No, they're doing it because they don't have any money. They need more money. And so they're like, well, most people that come to our site, you know, sane individuals block ads. I block ads. Most of you block ads. I don't know why anyone wouldn't block ads at this point. It slows down your whole experience if you don't. You might be giving money to companies that you don't even support. It does all sorts of stupid targeting stuff depending on the sites you use. It's crazy. The ad-driven internet never should have been a thing in the first place. It should have been a combination of sites selling actual real-world things, objects, services, and so forth. Things that are interesting enough for people to want to voluntarily give money. And then like the crypto mining stuff, that makes perfect sense. I don't think I have particularly myself a problem with the principle of that happening on these sites. It's not really denigrating your experience. Unless everyone's doing it and you're trying to do 5 things at once, and then half of your computer's processing power is being used for crypto mining, that would be a total ANCAP style future. And I think we should maybe avoid that. The fundamental premise, though, is that Salon would not have bothered to do this and potentially alienate even its own fans, as well as arousing the flames of passion against them from everyone who doesn't like them. Like, this just gives easy fodder to everyone who doesn't like Salon, including myself. You know, bias aside, though, it's skeevy. Here's the thing. They wouldn't have risked that unless they needed the money. That's the only explanation. There's no way that you couldn't have told me that a site would ever very visibly implement such a thing. Put up a big paywall saying, well, do you want to see ads? Turn off your fucking ad blocker because we want your cash. Or do you want to take part in this grand experiment where we're going to get like Bitcoin, or they probably use Ethereum or something? They wouldn't have done that and alerted people to the fact that it was even happening unless they were desperate. Nope, absolutely not, because a lot of people are still scared by stuff like cryptocurrency. They're going to go there to Salon, they're saying, oh my God, you want to hijack my computer? That's basically what they're going to say. Well, it's not exactly the case, you know, mostly, but it's going to scare some people. They won't use the site anymore. They'll say, well, if I can't block ads and you're going to try to do this to me, I just won't use your site. I'll use Vice. I'll use Vox. I'll go to Gawker Media and do some. I'll go to Heavy. I'll use, you know, anything. There are 1,000 other middleman media sort of left-wing sites that are just like Salon anyway. They're not even the biggest. They're certainly not the most well-written. Not that that's a very big talent pool, but you know, as it is. Yeah, Salon's so indispensable that you're willing to enable them to crypto mine. You know, anyone who doesn't have a problem with that and isn't going to get scared by it is probably mining Bitcoins on their own time anyway. So they're not going to want to mine any for you. So you're saying that someone who sporadically visits your site primarily for the purposes of criticizing it is going to actually enable this and not just get someone else who already doesn't have a problem with it to archive a page for them? Or that someone's not going to build a site that just crawls over your site and replicates everything there without doing anything? Oh, it can be done. Don't worry about it. Oh, your site will fail, probably. It'd be funny if it did. Because, I mean, it's a cesspit, basically. Salon puts out all sorts of crazy trash. Most of it's just clickbaiting. Like, I don't think they believe most of the crazy stuff that they spew. I think it's an attempt to get attention because they realize that they're competing with people that are more exciting than them, so they have to clickbait in order to get the ad revenue. But then they realized they weren't getting much ad revenue because more and more people use ad blocking software because it's convenient. Ad-driven internet's a thing of the past. It's pointless. It's like still using IRC chat or something else from the 1990s. So they're like, oh shit, well, you know, we're already barely making ends meet and we're losing money. We're going to go out of business if this continues. We already had to downsize our offices, already had to cut staff, I think, having problems. Okay, well, we'll hedge our bets with cryptocurrency then. We'll start mining that. As people use our site, the browser will do a little bit of mining for us. A little bit of a subterranean slave labor in the tech world. And it's all very funny, but, you know, they're doing it because they're desperate. Trust me. Trust me when I say that there's no possibility. There's no possible way they would have rolled this out. There's no possible way any mainstream firm would do this. Alt tech, maybe. Put it on as a novelty, say, oh, we don't need to serve you ads, we can fund our site, you'll just be using a small proportion of your processing power to do mining for us while you connect to the site. Like BitChute could roll out something like that, it'd probably be fine. Nobody would care, it'd be fine. They could actually make a lot of money that way by decentralizing their storage anyway. I mean, they'll make money hand over fist. Trust me, if BitChute survives a couple more years into the future, it'll become a dominating force on the internet. That's my belief. With the strategy they have, if they properly implement it, I think they can not only be solvent, but completely overhaul the way video is served in the entire tech world. But Salon.com is not an alt-tech site. It's not used by the new techie kids. It's not used by the alt-media. Most of the time, when I talk about Salon, it's to criticize them. I know that's the case for, I think, the vast majority of people in the new media, the new sort of analytical side of content creation. It has to be criticism. It's certainly not, oh, so I read an article, it was so thought-provoking today from Salon.com. When's the last time you heard that? No, maybe the New York Times, oh, this New York Times editorial was rather fascinating. You know, this Science magazine put out this interesting article about Cro-Magnon mating rituals. Okay, you'll get that. Salon? No, you're not going to get it there. If they do a science article, it's to debunk science. Oh, chromosomes don't exist. Don't look under a microscope, kids. It's sexist. Something along those lines. That's basically what they do. Here, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer's new magazine. It's 100 pages long. All it is about leek farming techniques. That would be more fascinating than anything you're going to get on Salon.com. Maybe I'll make a gag gift sometime. A knitted leek or a leek pin or something. That'd be funny. That's about all. Peace out.